I felt like I was no good. I felt like I was not good enough for anybody or anything. I felt like I wasn't good enough for my kids, for my job. Dealing with what a lot of people would call imposter syndrome. In the marriage, especially, I didn't feel good enough. I didn't feel like I could ever make my wife happy. And I suck as a husband and I suck as a man. And it really dug deep into my heart. And I was really struggling with waking up every morning, looking myself in the mirror and saying, I hate you. My kids recognize me as an authority in their life, as a solid figure. We have so much fun now. We laugh so much more than we did before. There's a lot more peace between us. They feel like they can come to me and I've got a solid answer for them for things they need in their lives. I've gotten some confidence from myself, and now that's something that my kids lean on. I'm a manager of a communications company. I'm a husband of 22 years, and I've got teenage triplet kids, and proud of all three of them. I've had a great marriage a good marriage, I should say, over the past 22 years. There have been issues that have always come back year after year. You have the same problems that you go around and never did seem to overcome them. And then finally, they kind of got the best of me, or should I say the worst of me. I hit a brick wall. November, December of last year, that's when I really was like, look, I've got to quit doing the same things and expecting different results. That's when I found your program and realized that, hey, there are better ways of doing things, and there are different ways of handling the problems that I've been facing in my marriage myself. We connected, and I haven't looked back.
When you say struggle in the marriage and struggle with yourself, can you elaborate on that, please?
Yeah, I mean, I felt like I was no good. I felt like I was not good enough for anybody or anything. I felt like I wasn't good enough for my kids, for my job. Dealing with what a lot of people would call imposter syndrome. In the marriage, especially, I didn't feel good enough. I didn't feel like I could ever make my wife happy, and I didn't feel like that she would ever be happy with me. I was basically drilling it down to I'm not good enough, and basically I suck as a husband and I suck as a man. And it really dug deep into my heart, and I was really struggling with waking up every morning, looking myself in the mirror and saying, I hate you. And that's how deep it got. It was not a good place to be. I don't recommend going there.
Well, you didn't go there by choice. It wasn't like you woke up and said, hey, look, I want this for my life. Do you care to elaborate a little bit on, and I know you have triplets. How are they handling the tension? Were they picking it up? How's it affecting your ability to be a father when you don't feel like you're good enough?
I was grouchy with them, snapping at them all the time. They weren't seeing me show up for my wife. They weren't seeing me show up in the marriage, putting my all into things. They saw me disconnect. What they knew me as the disconnecting dad. A lot of people relate. The disconnected dad, buckled into work, buckled into hobbies, buckled into, whatever they do outside of the marriage and outside of the home. I seemed like the guy that didn't want his kids around. I could tell they were feeling like I didn't want them around.
Right. And it wasn't because you didn't want them around. You just couldn't find it within you to be the type of father that they needed. And you knew it. And it was too painful to live with that. So it was easier to escape and to sort of go into work and hobbies. It wasn't like you put work before your family by design, but it was more like anesthesia to
use it to hide.
Yeah. Here's the fact. Most guys tried a bunch of things before, but like a lot of guys are on the hunt, right? They're still they're on Facebook University, they're on YouTube and reading various books. Some of the guys who came to the program, they saw the ad to this Facebook group, for example, when they're in a hotel separated from their wife. So they're sitting over there and they feel lonely. They feel like they're the only one that went through this. And it's not true. It's just not true. It's very painful. It's uniquely painful, but you're not the only one. You're not the second one. You're not the third one. And unfortunately, you're not the last one. What were the things that you tried before coming into Amazing Marriage Fast Track?
So for the longest time, I've chased I'm an avid podcast listener. I'm constantly trying to find things. And for years, I've always said, I wish somebody else had gone through what I've been going through and alone in this. And I'm the only one that has ever felt this way as a husband. And then in the martyr complex, I'm the only husband who has stuck it out with his marriage.
Yes.
And so I've read 5 Love Languages. I've read Mars and Venus. And the list goes on. And every one of them that you see out there, I even signed up for an online therapy program that you pay pretty good money to be part of monthly. I went through 2 therapists, and both of them said I needed to leave.
Really?
Both of them said I needed to leave, and one of them said that, well, if I want to stay in the marriage, I need to have a polygamous marriage or a polyamorous marriage.
Now I remember that part. I remember.
I was blown away. I was like,
and how much? Now you got me curious. How much money did you pay to find out that someone tell you that you got to leave the marriage?
Oh, probably by the time it was all said and done, between those 2 guys and another therapist before that, I'd probably spent $1,500.
Oh, wow.
And none of it helped. I had the one that was just trying to diagnose my wife through me.
Those are the best. I know. Your wife is bipolar. She has disorder. She's narcissistic. It's very easy to label somebody through someone else. It doesn't take an expert to ruin a marriage. Anybody could ruin a marriage. You don't have to be an expert to do that. Tell me, you were in the program. You came in December. I recall it was December 16, actually. and you crushed it. You put a lot of work into it. What was the first change you saw in yourself? You have a job, you did have to commit time to the program, you did invest the time. What was the first thing in the program that told you, wow, I'm on the right track?
I would say my ability to say no to other things to focus on myself, giving myself permission. I think that was the first step for me to say, I deserve this. I deserve this time. I deserve this commitment. I deserve to focus on myself with this. I think the first fruit from this thing was me not being ashamed to jump into the Q&As and spend the time that was involved in that part of it during the work week. I would just disappear for an hour during my lunch break. And that was something I would never do before. Knowing that I deserve this. This is for me. This is to fuel me. This is make me feel good. This is to help me become a better man, a better boss at work, a better husband, better father. I think that was the first fruit of it. The second one would have been the identification, where I'm hearing things that I completely can identify with that I thought nobody else could understand.
Yeah, it's amazing. But where we are right now, 6 months later, 7 months later, how would you describe the relationship with your kids based on what you learned from the program?
Fun. I mean, my kids have, you're not supposed to be friends with your kids, but my kids recognize me as an authority in their life, as a solid figure, but we have so much fun now. We laugh so much more than we did before. There's a lot more peace between us. They feel like they can come to me and I've got a solid answer for them for things they need in their lives.
Right.
I've gotten some confidence from myself, and now that's something that my kids lean on.
And that's interesting because it's not even the focus of the program. Well, the Gold Amazing Match Fast Track is to turn around and save your marriage. But the reality is when you become a better husband, on the way to doing that, you're going to become a better man, better business person. You're going to become a better father. You're going to be better with your finances because when you're lit up and living in love, you're a different person. You're actually living more aligned with the person you're meant to be. What was the first breakthrough you noticed with your wife in terms of the impact of the program on her?
I think it was not a particular marked breakthrough, but a gradual thing, because for years I have been the guy that's shut his wife down and not let her talk. Be that safe place for her to land, especially when it had to do with things about me. Over time, it took some time. And there's still some reminders even today that I have to see. She has to know she's coming to a safe place to land. What I started to see was her opening up and the escalation coming down from those times when she come to me about problems about us. When she come to me about an issue between us, it's like night and day between pre-program and now. When she comes to me about a problem, there may be tears, there may be emotions, which there should be, but there's not the escalation that we had before. It's now an open heart. It's now an open conversation. The first thing I started to see her be able to talk and for me to not feel like it was so personal.
Let's look at it from a different direction, right? There's work involved in the program. And sometimes guys are like wondering, David, what are you going to have me do? Because sometimes I make it sound like it's heart surgery. I don't want people thinking that it's a Band-Aid program, that I'm just going to give you some techniques or how to talk to your wife and all that stuff. That happens too, but that's not the main thing. How would you describe the type of work that you need to do in order to have that turnaround in your marriage? Your wife trusts you to open up and your kids feel that you're fun and present. You're not just trying to drown yourself in work. How hard was it really? And what did it look like?
Well, the actual work itself was fairly easy, but it was hard emotionally. I had to open up. I had to soften up. I had to release what was inside of me. I had to look inside and be honest with myself. I think that's the hardest part about it. There were times you basically said, hey, no, that's BS. Let's try this again. That's what a good coach is all about. You have to have somebody that can call you on your BS while you're going through it. You did not allow me to once blame my problems on my wife, ever. And I think that was key. And that's what made me have to work harder about it. It's easy to blame it on someone else. But whenever you begin to own your own path and your own corrections, that's when it's like, dang, I've got things to work on here. That was the hard part about it, really. I'm one that likes to just shut things down and move on, and didn't let me do that.
You were the right person for the program because you had that sincerity, that honesty, and you're willing to let me hold you to that standard. Now, my question is, how long did it take for Melissa, your wife, to start trusting that you're different than what she thought? She had this image of who you are and how much she could or could not trust you, which changed dramatically as a result of the program, as really a result of your work. How long would you say it took for her to say, this is different?
I think I'm still convincing her sometimes. I'm still having to walk that, because I think the key of the program is not what you're doing in the program, it's what you're doing to change your patterns forever, consistently going forward. And so, there's still times she's watching me like, okay, what's your reaction going to be on this? What do you really think about this? You're cheerful now. I'm going to wait till you go around the corner and stick my head around the corner and see if you're still cheerful,
Right.
I say this facetiously, probably week 7.9,
Really? It took almost to the end of the 8 weeks.
But really, she did give me grace As time went on, she started seeing some changes. She started giving it a try. It was painful for her because she was living through a lot of pain from our marriage too. And that was what I think a lot of guys don't understand is the pain that they're going through might just pale in comparison to the pain that their wife is going through, or it's just different.
Right.
And their wife is going through a great deal of pain too. And I had to see that. And so as some of that pain started to subside and heal, even yet you see it heal even more, you start to see things melt a little bit more. When you have to be committed to this for life.
Right now, one of the beautiful things is that you turn around and you're helping other guys, which is one of the beautiful things that we've had is to see guys who have been drowning in marriage crisis, in a miserable marriage. And then once they get stable enough to be able to start thriving, they turn around, they put their hand down and pull somebody else out of the water together with me. And it's been really a blessing and a joy to see that. Let's just be honest about it. I'm Jewish. You're Christian. Well, how would you describe, how would you speak to somebody who knows they need help? I'm talking about somebody serious and committed. Their only concern is, I'm Christian, you're Jewish. How is this going to work? How is it going to impact my spiritual beliefs? What does this involve? If you watch the marketing videos I put out, we do touch on spirituality. We will tap into your psychological, emotional, and spiritual muscles to make you a better person. There is naturally a concern from a different faith tradition that's like, how would you describe your experience, what you benefited from the program? Where are you right now? It's a sensitive question, and it's the unspoken question.
Okay. So I was raised on a Pentecostal church pew, under the Pentecostal church pew some nights. At church, I just sleep under the pew some nights. For those watching who can identify, a lot of Pentecostal people are very hesitant to listen to people of other faiths. One thing that I will say through this program and working with you, I haven't been challenged even by people in my own faith to do on the level that I've been challenged is to get closer to God, improve my prayer life, and to really seek God for who he is. That wasn't hard hearing from you because there's a gentleness about it. I don't think there has ever been anything through this entire program, through the Q&As, through our conversations. I haven't heard a thing come from you that was disrespectful to my faith in any way, shape, or form. You never said anything that made me feel like you thought you were better than me. We're walking through this together, trying to make our marriages better, to be better men. And that's what I appreciated through this whole thing. And at the same time, you poked and prodded me to get closer to God. What else can you say, you know?
You're on the other side of it. And you've also seen some guys come in, one guy specifically, who was agnostic and then got closer to God. He believed in God, went through the program. How would you describe the connection you had with God before the program and the connection you have now? Because I want to go a little bit deeper so people could feel your heart, feel your experience.
Before I was keeping my relationship with God at arm's length, I was angry at God. I didn't pray because I didn't know what to say. I really didn't know how to connect with him anymore because I'd connected my relationship with God with the things that were not going right. It was tough. It was just one of those things that I'd almost given up on. I was still going to church. I was still leading my family to church and all of that, but I wasn't really walking with God, man. I just didn't really care to. Now it's different because it is a relationship. It's more relational. It's more, change my heart, make my heart more like yours. Help me be more kind. Don't give me a better marriage. Help me be more kind. You know, if I can be more kind, if I can carry the fruit that comes from that relationship, then I can be a better husband. He don't have to make me be a better husband. All he's got to do is help me to be more kind, help me be more gentle.
Right.
That does help my marriage. That helps every connection I make.
Exactly. And what would you tell somebody who says, okay, great, let me go pray and ask God to help me be more kind? What would you do if someone watching this video says, I got the magic formula, boom, that's it, thank you very much, I'm going to do it on my own?
Good luck. I mean, I'm sure there's guys that can, oh, holy cow, the light bulb moment from what he just said there.
Right.
But I don't think it's that easy. I think there's awakening moments, times that it has to be revealed to you. You have to see it as somebody's walking you through a process saying, maybe this isn't so great. Maybe this is something that is really creating a separation. Hey, let me walk you through this. This is deep in your heart. You didn't even realize, you know.
And first of all, you can't see you. That's why the best football players have coaches. You can't see yourself in the play. You can't see the bigger picture. You can't see the game. You can't see the impact on people around you. And secondly, it's like, have to know how to actually go back into the marriage with it. Like, what do I do with this empowered moment? What do I do with this better connection with God? How do I show up practically? But the point is, just knowing to shut your mouth and to avoid the damage that comes from that, and knowing at the right time when to move, when to stop, is all part of the God component, but it's very much about how to invest in the marriage, how to explore the marriage, how to protect the marriage. It was a joy watching you. I enjoyed very much having you in the program, especially when you decided to help other men as well. To guys watching this, I'll pick TJ's brain quickly. Who would you say, what type of people are most qualified to join? It's not for everybody. Based on the men you've seen in the program, how would you say, in your words, would be the best description of guys who can join?
It's going to be people that have had enough of it being the way that it is. and have had enough with it being in someone else's hands. It's going to have to be the guys that are like, you know what, I'm going to take the bull by the horns and I'm going to do this. If I'm the only one in this home that's going to make it happen, I'm going to be the guy that makes it happen. I'm going to take leadership. The guys that are going to say, well, I'll try this if my wife will put in her 2% or her whatever percent, it ain't gonna work for you. You've got to be willing to do it all.
Yeah, that's true. And you also have to have the attitude of like, it's not difficult, it's not that bad, and we're going to have fun in the process, because dealing with a marriage and saving a marriage can be painful, and you have to approach it with some joy as well. If you're watching this and you relate to this and you know you're at a point that you have the heart, you love your wife, you have the unconditional love within you, you're actually trying to show it, you're trying your best to do it, but your wife doesn't know it, and whatever you're doing is not working, then book a call with me. That's where TJ started. That's where everybody else started. That call is a free call. It's an evaluation call. We're sort of like pop the hood on your car. We open it up. We take a little bit of a blood test. What's going on in your marriage? What's working? What's not working? What type of marriage you want to have? If you're a good fit for the program, we'll definitely help you. Some people are not a fit for a variety of reasons. Either they're not the right personality to fix it, or the addiction issue, or medication. There's a bunch of variables, but don't overthink this. I've had so many guys who booked a call with me, and at the end of the call, the biggest game changer for them, even if they weren't fit for the program, which happens many times. If you're ready to approach it, leave at the door whatever you know. If you feel the 5 love languages is working for you, don't call me. If it's working for you, good luck. That means that you don't have marriage cancer. But if what you're doing is not working for you, book a call with me, and I can promise you one thing. I can promise you it's going to be the best hour you ever invested in your marriage. I can't promise you if I can help you or not, but I can tell you that hour will be the best hour you ever invested, because that's where people start. It starts from a place of just having a conversation, an open conversation, and talking about things that people don't want to talk about. It's like, TJ, the conversation that we had on that first call, is that like a typical thing you would have with your friend? Was that something you would have with another man casually?
I think the call itself was, if our relationship had ended with that call, it would have helped me immensely. That was a great conversation you and I had.
Knowing you're not alone.
Yeah.
Knowing you're not alone, and having an outline of the strategy.
Yeah.
But you stuck through it. You definitely were coachable and a joy to watch. So I appreciate you taking the time right now. Ultimately, it comes down to this. Some people are so fed up with the first half of their life, they just don't want their second half to be the same way. Some people will look at the first half and they would rather complain about it. They would rather feel like a victim or a martyr or a saint. Like you said, hey, I didn't leave my wife, I've been loyal to her. And those people I can't help. But the people that we could help are the people who say, you know what, I'm freaking tired of the first half of my life being like this. I only got another 30, 40 years to live, and I only have these kids to model a happy marriage to. And if you're that type of person, take a move, buddy. But unfortunately, human nature is they wait until things are too late. If I can just save an extra few people, it would have been worth my time and your time, TJ. Don't wait till it's too late. Get help now, and let's rock. My vision is a movement. My goal is to create a tribe out of this. And the only way to create a tribe is to have each guy understand exactly what it's like to be suffering out there, whether facing divorce or just facing an endless, loveless marriage. And it takes one guy at a time, like TJ, to step up, do the work, and then be able to turn around, put your hand into the water, and pull somebody else out. So thanks again. I appreciate your time, TJ, and God bless you.
Thank you.